newspapers. Many Nigerians, however, oppose this, insisting that criminals should be punished for their villainy. And he's also saying that Tinubu should resist the dubious amnesty calls, secure the country and bring terrorists to book. The editorial board of the Punch newspaper is also saying under this particular crush bandits don't grant them amnesty. Significantly, the renewed advocacy on behalf of bandits is coming at a time when after a lull, the terrorists are regaining their momentum, spreading death and desolation across the north. Yerima's apology is not new. Other influential political and religious figures from the north had similarly canvassed amnesty for the bandits. Yerima said the best way to go about handling the issue of bandits is to introduce dialogue first. Former President Umar Yar'Adua had a similar interaction with the militants in the Niger Delta, and it was successful. Like others before him, Yerima is confusing two contemporary security issues: blatant criminality by the bandits in the north and agitation over oil resources in the Niger Delta. Musa Rafsanjani, head of Transparency International Nigeria, declared in 2021, "You cannot allow people who have destroyed, killed, and brutalized communities. You did not heal that wound. Now you want to pamper those who have perpetrated that criminality and those atrocities. It does not work that way." And rich and well armed from their right hand, bandits once brought down a Nigeria Air Force fighter jet and attacked the Nigerian Defense Academy. They occupied forests in several states from where they launched deadly raids. Between 2016 and 2019, some Northwest states negotiated an amnesty deal with the bandits. The then Katsina governor Aminu Masiri spent 30 million naira on stipends for the repentant felons. In return of their arms, he regretted it. The president needs to implement hardline measures. The first is to prepare strategically against the bandits. He should rearm and refocus the military to neutralize the felons. Those interdicted must be prosecuted and given the maximum sentence. The state government must abolish the archaic open grazing livestock farming. The bandits steal animals easily when they are in the open. Ranching with adequate security was termed this ugly tide. Beyond this, policing must be devolved through a resort to the doctrine of necessity, the subsisting police architecture in which over half of the 371,000-strong Nigeria police force is on VIP attachment is egregious. There must be different levels of policing, which is standard in all other federal countries. The calls for amnesty should be concerned to the dustbin. And of course, on that note, I welcome you to the podium this wonderful Saturday morning. And of course, on the podium, we actually have some guests. We are going to be looking into history with us this morning. And of course, it's Saturday, the 15th of July, 2023. And it's 11 minutes past the hour of 9. And I'm Gbolabo, Famous School. Do remember that you can also join us on our socials. We're live on Facebook and also on YouTube to drop your comments. All right, we will play this excerpt from one of a man called the Ibadan Strong Man. And of course, is one person that has been known in terms of the kind of politics he played in the time past in Ibadan. He's one man that was dreaded, quite dreaded in terms of some of the policies that he made while he was alive. We want to actually extra as 15 years. We're hoping that his eldest son will join us as quickly as possible. Baba is also old enough to be called Baba. And we are hoping that Baba will find his way to the studios this morning easily. But we'll take this excerpt from Adedibo, the late Adedibo, Lamidi Adedibo, and we'll be back shortly.
In all this, I succeeded. I've sat down and nominated candidate to be in that position or this position. Through the help of God, I started my political career in 1951. Today in the country, in our country in Nigeria, I haven't seen anybody whom we started together and still functioning as I am today. So whatever name anybody call me, I say I thank God. People are saying that the disagreement started on the appointment of his cabinet. It is not correct. The cabinet was 15 commissioners. He took a list of 12 out of the commissioner from me, from my house. and he really appointed them. Because it is not me that really appointed those people. I made consultation with the leaders of the people in their respective constituency whom they want. They submitted the names to me, and I gave it to him. Actually, those are 12 names. Then on his own, he appointed 3 more. That was how he had 15 commissioners. I swear in the name of God, that is exactly the truth. What people are saying that it is a cabinet issue, is not. Again, he is an ingrate. There's no doubt about that. He is an ingrate. You see, he knew what he was doing in the sense that he wanted to become governor, and he knew that it's never happened in Oyo State, that you will be governor for 2 times in Oyo State. It's impossible. It is once. So if he has the opportunity, that is how we are. Bolagi, you know his political clout. You know how important Bolagi was. You know his political and his association with Awolowo. He couldn't make it second time. Odunoyo is there. Kolapo Ishola, Lamadishina. So he cannot. He knew that well, be better for him to grab what he wanted to grab and run away with it. That after all, it's not coming back again. That is the best answer that I can say to it, because he's an enemy of every leaders of the party. He sat down one day and he said he expelled me and expelled Adeojo from the party. How can a reasonable person sit down and do that? He knew he was going. The date is nearer now that he will be leaving the office. He can't come back there. So, and he doesn't want anybody to share out of the booty he made.
All right, you're welcome back. You're still on to the podium in case you're just joining us this morning. And of course, this is one of your top political program on radio here in the Southwest. And of course, we are actually looking at 15 years after the passing of late Lamidi, the Ibadan strongman in terms of politics here. Lamidi Adedibo. We're also expecting that we have Professor Adedibo join us in the studios this morning. We've been having difficult times getting across to him. We were hoping that he would get in the studios. He's also quite aged. I think Baba is almost going to about 70 now, if not more than that. We are expecting that he also joins us on the program this morning to look into 15 years after the death of his father. Of course, you heard from him there, and of course, he was referring to Rashidi Ladoja there, while Rashidi Ladoja was still the governor of the state, saying that there is no time where you have instances of a governor having a second term in office, and of course, that Rashidi Ladoja then knew the principles of the state, so he should walk by it. But I have some issues with some of the comments that he made in that particular excerpt. But quickly, let me introduce you to our panelists in the studios this morning. I have here to my immediate left, of course, Barrister Yomi Ogunlola joining us on the platform this morning. Good morning, Barrister.
Oh, yes. Good morning, Nigeria, and good morning, studio. It's nice to be here.
All right. We also have another panelist who will be holding forth for Professor Remi Ayede. And of course, they are both from the same department from the University of Ibadan, talking about political science. And of course, he will be joining us to do analysis here this morning. And of course, for some while before we have Professor return back from Kenya. Of course, we listened to Professor last week where he spoke to us from Kenya, but then we have somebody that is going to be sitting in for him pending when he gets back from his working visit to Kenya. We have Dr. Stephen Lafenwa with us in the studios this morning. He's also a doctor of political science. Yeah. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. And good morning, Barrister Ogunlola.
Good morning.
It's nice seeing you again.
My brother. nice being with you.
Thank you, sir. And thank you. Our presenter.
All right.
Long time I've seen you, and I'm very happy to see you again.
Yeah, same here too. I think I interviewed you the last time at the other station. All right. It's good to have you both panelists in the studios this morning. We're hoping that Baba joins us quick. I hope he gets here. He's actually coming from a very long distance, and I'm praying that he meets us in these particular discussions, because there are a number of issues we want him to clear. And of course, he's one person that doesn't even believe in his father's ideology. He sees his father in a different light, while the father also sees himself, the late father now, talking about Adedibo, in a different light as well. All right, I think I will start off with the excerpts played just now. And of course, there's something that Adedibo said, the late Adedibo said in this excerpt, and it's quite striking. He said he has taken what he has to take and he has gone, let him just go away with it. And now it's like an admittance that in the politics, even till today, is a raw, he speaks raw. And of course, he doesn't, he's not a person that minds or minimizes whatever he wants to say. He doesn't color his words. And he said, he has made a lot of money and he needs to walk away with it. Let him just go. He knows that it's just one time he has to use in office. Let me start off with Barrister. Now, if you look at that, isn't it the reality of today that people look at political office as a means of making money? All right, I guess we have to pay some bills right about now. We'll be back off with that. We'll be back very shortly with that. Let's take this and we'll be back.
FM 94.9.
oríire wọlé dé fún gbogbo ènìyàn. iléeṣẹ́ real phones tún ti gbárò tún dé fún gbogbo ẹ̀yin alára tó tà àtẹ̀yìn akọ́ṣẹ́mọṣẹ́ àtúnfóònù ṣe. bójú fóònù tí yín bá bàjẹ́ tẹ̀ tí ń wá screen tẹ́ fi pààrọ̀ rẹ̀ tẹ́ rí. real phones gangan lójútùú ẹ̀. lẹ́yìn tẹ́ bá rà á tán látún bá yín fix ẹ̀. báwo lẹ ṣe fẹ́ sí. ṣé screen Samsung lẹ́fẹ́ ni tàbí Note 10, Note 8, S21 Ultra, S20, S9 Plus, S9, X8, Vivo, Tecno, Redmi, Infinix Honor, INT'L Huawei, iPhone 11 tó fi dórí 14. kò sí screen ní fóònù tẹ́ wá nílé iṣẹ́ real phones tẹ́ ní bá for your phone screen at cheaper price. real phones is the solution. à ń tún fóònù ṣe nílé iṣẹ́ wa bí fóònù yín bá bàjẹ́. kàn sí wọn ní nọ́mbà 35C 9 Post Shopping Complex ládojúkọ Cocoa House nìbàdàn. gẹ́lẹ́kò tó wọlé ló ti kàn wọ́n lẹ́nu géètì. gbàrà tó bá tún wọlé tán ló kàn wọ́n kúgbú lápá ọ̀tún rẹ̀. fún ẹ̀kúnrẹ́rẹ́ àlàyé 0706 436 8169 tàbí 0809 695 7878. real phones fún ojúlówó screen fóònù tó lálòpẹ́.
Oh, wow! I've got to the home away from home that suits my desired player. Fabric Hotel and Suites. Hey there, are you looking for a hotel where comfortability resides? Fabric Hotel and Suites is your best bet. It's located in a serene environment, fully air-conditioned, 24 hours power supply, 24 hours internet, secured parking space, maximum security guaranteed, restaurant and bar for maximum relaxation and comfortability. Look no further. Visit Fabric Hotel and Suites today. It's located at 84 Onireke Layout, off Stone Street, Indian Quarters, Onireke, Ibadan. Telephone 0907-792-7771 or 0903-399-7557. Email fabrichotelsuites@gmail.com. Fabric Hotel and Suites, embodiment of comfortability.
My people, na your choice supermarket, Living Proof Supermarket. They salute you now with another Obonga news. Say we don't open another shop for inside Total Filling Station opposite UMC Molete Ibadan. Everything where you want buy don't there for our new outlet for inside Total Filling Station opposite UMC Molete. We don't join all other our chain of supermarkets like a former Pinnacle Building, Felele, Old Martin Pharmacy inside Lee City University, including the one way there for Bodija, and very soon another outlet go open for Osogbo for inside Borepo Chemist Yetoro Osogbo with the all other ones where una sabi. Make no carry last yo. Go buy anything where you need like beverages, drinks, groceries, confectionery products like bread, pastries, and many other daily needs. Remember, as you buy marketing for Living Proof, now your customer loyalty point go dey increase. Oh yeah, make una dey call this number 081-8888-7120. Share you see now, say Living Proof Supermarket. Now be your friend. True.
Kí lọkùnrin ṣe tó bẹ́ẹ̀ ẹ fà lọ́lọ́pàá lọ́wọ́ kẹ́ má bàa dáràn.
fóònù tí mo ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ rà ní screen rẹ̀ ń ṣiṣẹ́ kíṣẹ́ fún rẹ̀ ló tẹ nọ́mbà ìyàwó wọn. bí a bá ń sọ fún yín ò ní gbọ́. lóòótọ́
lóòótọ́ ni ilé ìtajà fóònù pọ̀ rẹ́kẹrẹ́kẹ́ ṣùgbọ́n ṣé gbogbo wọn náà ló ta ojúlówó. ilé ìtajà iShow gadget tí mo lè fògbó ẹ̀gbárí tọrọ bá dọ̀rọ̀ kára iPhones Android laptop ìgbàlódé tí mú iṣẹ́ ọpọlọ yá kankan. kódà wọ́n ta accessories lóníranran tó fi mọ́ àwọn èlò ilé mìíràn. gbogbo ọjà tí wọ́n tà pátá ni wọ́n gba san díẹ̀díẹ̀ lórí wọn pẹ̀lú àjọsọyépọ̀. kódà báyìí bá ti ra ọjà lọ́dọ̀ wọn lẹ́tùn máa jẹ̀bùn. tó o bá wá fẹ́ kí páńkì tó o gbé dání bá ọkọ̀ ìyàwó sójà lẹ́yìn èyí. yára mórílẹ̀ iShow gadget tó wà ní iShow building lẹ́yìn Lagos Ìkòròdú garage fanáwọlé Àbáyọ̀mí road Ìwó road Ìbàdàn tàbí kí o pe ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ wọn 09014579517 iShow gadget gbogbo tẹ́ ẹ fẹ́ lójúlówó lẹ́ ó bá lọ́dọ̀ wọn.
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9. When the people became silent,
the government became oppressive. It's time to lend your voice to politics.
On 32 FM 94.9.
Safasa pelisizo simnyama Iwasafa Isizo saba Kavula mo Anichaleni ko Kelize Wemaye wemodo.
All right, you're welcome back. You're still on to the podium, and of course, the big man that we're expecting he's already in the studio, and of course, he has joined us this morning on the podium. And of course, our guest is the first son of late Lamidi Adedibu, and of course, we know him as a strong man of politics in Ibadan during his times. Until today, we still talk about how powerful he was and still is even till this present moment. We have Professor Aderemi Adedibu, and of course, he's a professor of chemistry and one-time provost, Redeemers University at Osun State. He's also the life patron of Science Teachers Association of Nigeria. He has headed so many associations within the university sector and is still very prominent on different scholarship boards. It's great to have you here this morning, Professor. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
All right, sir. Quickly, we have to start off with you because, of course, we have panelists joining us in the studios. We have Barrister Yomi Ogunlola and Dr. Stephen Lafenwa, who are also panelists on the show this morning. You can also welcome Baba to the studio properly, our panelists this morning.
Yes, I think it is a great delight, to have Prof in the house. When you were reading his resume, I got very, very scared. Not many people out there who knew Adedibu, would believe that such a product came from Baba. I am so happy to be in the studio with you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Good morning, sir. In fact, if I have not seen Baba before, I've seen Baba here, live and direct, after 15 years of his demise. In fact, you are just a replica of Baba. Wow. Thank God for your life, and thanks for the achievement. We thank God for your achievement, and we appreciate what you are doing. So, good morning, sir.
Good morning. I appreciate your recommendation. Thanks a lot.
Even the voice.
Yeah.
All right, quickly, let's start off this. How would you describe your father, the late Chief Lamidi Adedibu?
Well, first and foremost, let me thank your radio station for inviting me to know more about my late father. And also thanks my two friends who are here with me. The one on the right who is a lawyer.
Lawyer is a...
The one on the left who is a lawyer, and the one on the right who is a doctor like myself,
a political scientist.
And he's a political scientist because not all the political scientists understand politics.
Yes. Like Baba.
Before I describe the attitudes of my late father, I need to clear something. I'm happy that the solicitor is with me now. We have some solicitors in Nigeria who doesn't know the difference between elder's son and elder's child. And when somebody wants to go to court, you should be able to be versatile with this terminology. So I'm so happy that my colleague, the law, is here to inform those people that there's a difference between the eldest child and eldest son. In Yoruba terminology, if a parent has 25 children and 24 are women, the 25th one is the eldest son. So now, coming back to the issue of my own late father, first and foremost, I thank God that I'm from him. He's a very simple man, but some people, it's not too simple. Because unless you move closer to someone before you know his attitude, if you don't move closer to somebody, they can describe you that you're an attitude, you are ignorant, you are an imbecile, you are this, you are that. But I have a very simple, understandable, and reliable father. That's the way I can describe him.
All right, it's been 15 years since the late Alhaji Adedibo died. And of course, that's June the 11th, 2008. Some critics actually claim that he was grandfather of political thuggery. And of course, in your state, maybe in the Southwest. What do you reckon your father's legacies has been as? What are your father's legacy here?
What I can say about my father's legacy, judging from his experience, he joined politics at a young age. He joined the politics at the age of 19. And he died at the age of 81. So if you deduct 19 from 81, he has been in politics more than 50-something years. So there is no way you can say somebody like that doesn't understand what is going on in politics, not only in Oyo State, but in Nigeria. So just like I was telling you, he has one thing I understand about him, very courageous. In politics, God always be with him. If he decide that this is the person who's going to be the governor, God always listen to his prayer. That person will become the governor. So those are the issue. Another issue is that many people believe that my late father depends on political money from some people, which I need to clear the audience today that my father is a businessman to the core. He gets contracts from the federal level, and he will use that money again to finance people in political angle. That's just it.
Where do we now explain the political thuggery? Now, there are claims that he actually does more political thuggery. What is the explanation for that?
Well, on the issue of the language of political thuggery, as far as Nigeria is concerned, most politicians are thuggeries.
Excluding Lamidi?
I'm coming.
Okay.
When you talk of thuggery in what sense? Because we have to look at the angle. Thuggery in the sense that if somebody is a thuggery, I look at it on the other angle that maybe he doesn't like somebody, he doesn't want his own opponent to be cheated. So if he doesn't want his opponent to be cheated, he has to look for another means of defending his own party. So you cannot term that one as a thuggery. I hope you are getting my point now, because you have to look at the angle. Thuggery in what sense? Is he thuggery in the aspect of saying, I should allow you to kill all my own opponent without fight back? So that's the way I look at it.
So he has a recruited army. You've admitted that he also has a recruited army that he actually uses in terms of...
When we are talking of not recruited army,
okay.
Let me clear you now.
Okay.
Somebody is looking for a job. You didn't get a job. My late father now has you. Sit down in my house. Come and eat your 3 meals in a day. When you are going back home, you give you money in your pocket. If somebody is now going to fight him, who is going to fight my father? The person that you are feeding will not be able to go and defend you. Are you not trying to tell me that those people whom he has been feeding, whom he usually give money to, and somebody wants to fight him now, such people will now go and defend him. So they now classify those people that are defending him as political thuggery. So he didn't employ any thuggery. He didn't recruit any thuggery. But among the people that is feeding, they are the ones that usually assist him to fight back.
Okay, I would ask you this before actually bringing the panelists to the floor. What is his relationship with Alhaji Busari Adilakun, a.k.a. Robodo? And now it's been believed that these two men were ritually very powerful. How do you react to that?
Let us clear the issue now. Adelakun was once a commissioner during the time of late Bolagi. And he left Bolagi to join the same party with my late father. That was MPN. Am I not right?
Yes.
So when you look at it, you cannot compare the attitudes of Adelakun with the attitude of my own father. They are not comparable
How is that so?
because they are not in the same lineage. They
Is
have
he not your father's mentor? Wasn't he your late father's mentor?
My late father is Menton, Adelakun is Menton, but Adelakun his own is, he had a clash with the UPGA, with the UPGA.
Yeah.
Am I not right?
The Post Republic.
Yes, which is a late Awolowo's party. Then he left them to join the MPN. You get my point now. But when you believe in charm, that's why I say you cannot compare the man that believe in charm with my own late father who believe in Almighty Allah. Because he prays a lot. You get my point now. That's why I say you can't compare the two together. Because for his own now, if he's going to fight somebody, he use his own magical, magician power to fight. But my own father does not do that. Before my own father will say, go and fight. He puts it in prayer before he doesn't ask them, he will not ask people, go and fight unnecessarily. Unless you look for his own way to fight. That's just it. So that's the difference between the two of them.
And so they are never friends. They don't have any relationship. And of course, it's been believed that Ero Bodo was a mentor to the late Adedibu.
It's not a mentor to late Adedibu. Let us clear the issue. They are not of the same category. The difference is clear. That does not mean that because two of them are from your state. You get me now. That's it.
All right, let me give the floor to Barrister. Barrister, you might also have some few questions to ask Professor
yes,
this morning.
Thank you very much. Once again, I welcome Prof to the studio. Your father, the Ojaba-born member of the Olupoi chieftaincy ruling house, if I am right.
You're right.
Was an aristocratic power broker. And I am happy you have told Nigerians this morning that he joined politics at a very early age.
That's right.
He started with the Ibadan People's Party.
That's right.
Then into Action Group. He was also with the NPN. And like Gbolabo said, I think a majority of Nigerians know him for his populism and raw thuggery tactics. Now, from the submissions you have made, are you saying the role your father played was determined by the circumstances prevailing in Nigeria, where might continues to be right?
Repeat that question again.
That the role he played was determined by the prevailing circumstances in Nigeria that allows might to get away with almost everything it does rather than law or the rule of law.
I'm happy that I'm dealing with a barrister. Nobody is above law. And I'm not trying to defend my father because he's my father. My father will never violate law. But some people, they always think he violated the law.
Okay,
He does.
Maybe I should. There are several people in Oyo State, particularly Ibadan today, that remember your father with nostalgia because it was claimed that he was a land grabber and that so many people lost their land holdings, to his, so
well,
which is part of what I was saying about the might.
Let me now answer you. It's a good question. Just like I was telling you If you don't move closer to somebody, you will not be able to know the person's attitude. Many people will describe him, landscriber. The same group of people will describe him, land helper. Are you getting my point now?
Oh, yes.
Because many people sometimes even use my own father's name to secure their land. Please take note. Many people will say, look, I don't have no money to build this land. Let me go put a signboard. This land belongs to Adedibu. So if somebody wants to go and grab that land, I will say, Adedibu again. But he's not the owner. I'm happy you raised that issue today. Fortunately, the former executive secretary of NUC, who was former vice chancellor of University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, visited him in his office when I was with Federal Ministry of Education about one of his people that died on the plane. He says, look, Professor Adedibu, you and myself, we just call ourselves professor. We are not even well known than your father. That your own late father, he did something that surprises him. That he had a man put signboard. This land belongs to Adedibu. And when people saw it, they didn't go to that land again. Then later on, the man now went to my father. And said, sir, I have a problem. Then my late father said, what's the problem? So many people went down to my father and said, Daddy, we saw a signboard that land belongs to you. He said, we've never bought any land in that place now. But let's wait and see. So when the person now came, he introduced himself. When my father said, let's wait and see, they have started structure of the place. My late father completed the house for that person. So the person now came to my father, said, I'm doing of this land. Show me the paper. Showed my father, give him the key to that land. So to some group of people now, it's a land grabber. To some people now, it's a land helper. So that is one thing that I keep saying it. Not because that I'm his son. If somebody says, Barrister so-and-so is a bad man, have you moved closer to him? This is a distance talk. And that's why we're in trouble in this country. You talk something you don't know, which we need to look into it.
All right, let me go down to Dr. Stephen Lafenwa. Do you have some other things?
Yeah, Baba Adedibu, Aribi, Akanji, Olosama, a very well-known person. But, when you want to describe Adedibu, there are so many parts. He was a man of many parts. Adedibu as a philanthropist, Adedibu as a father, Adedibu as an institution, because some people refer to him as an institution. So I want to ask you, was he truly the strong man of Ibadan politics?
My professional colleague, because when I say professional colleague, I'm not a lawyer. I'm an academician like When you use the language that Adedibu is a strong man of Ibadan politics, there's a condition. You've described him a philanthropy. Another language
as a father.
Is a father.
As a godfather.
Godfather too. So
and an institution.
And an institution, yes.
So when you describe, you look at the history of my late father, how many governors has my late father has used his own position to install. That's the language of strong man of Ibadan politics. Let's go back into history. During the time of the MPN, it was my father and Akinloye that installed Oluloyo. That's the beginning, After the military finished now, we turn back to civilian. In the civilian now, here comes Kolakpa Ishola. It was my father again that installed him. Am I not right?
Yes.
After Gbolabo Ishola, here comes Senator Rashid Ladoja. It was the federal that installed him. Am I not right? Then here come late Akala. It was the federal again that installed him before he passed away.
Yeah.
That is why it's been called.
Strong man of But now I want to ask. Given the political reforms that I witnessed, since 2008 that your father died, can we say that if he were alive today, he would have made, a lot of difference? Because you look at the electoral reform, the electoral act, which is now, hindering politicians from manipulating the process of electoral process. Can we say Baba will still be relevant, if he were to be alive today, given all those things that we have witnessed in Nigeria, introduction of beavers, introduction of high ref and the rest, because people believe that Baba knew quite very well how to rig and manipulate election in favor, of his, candidate.
No,
remember the case of the data capturing machine that they said they allegedly found in Baba's house.
It was not fun.
Baba said,
okay,
nobody can come to emulate it.
See, just like, let me bring one issue to you. I'm happy a political scientist. If you go back to this from Nigeria, when we are talking of review of the Constitution, I wrote a memo that let us now talking of 5 years, non-renewable, from local government chairman to the presidency, one term. It was turned down by the politicians. And I thank God again today, when I was in charge of the federal universities, I'm the one who wrote that memo in 1994. 5 years, non-renewable for the post of vice chancellor.
Yeah, and that's what we are using today.
Thank God. If that memo could have been accepted in the political arena, things will come back to normal. That's one thing. Now, coming back to the issue of rigging of election. We have never have a peaceful election in Nigeria.
Free and fair.
We've never.
What of the last
Beside, let's raise the reality.
Okay.
The law, I hope you are listening to me.
Oh, yes, sir.
Let's raise the reality. We continue deceiving ourselves. In a population of 200,
million people.
Million people, 97 point something million register for election. End of the day, 24.5 million
cast their vote.
Which means 1/4 of Nigeria
participated in the.
Let's put that on the side. All right? Now, let's go to another angle of it again. Beside late MKO election, which I can classify as free and fair, and there was no religion.
All right, Prof, we have to actually have you hold your thoughts there. We have to pay some bills now. We'll be back very shortly.
Stay tuned to 32 FM 94.9.
Tí o bá wà lórí nẹ́tíwọ́ọ̀kì àrídájú ìyẹn naija confam wo ẹ̀bùn 1,000 naira ń dúró dè ọ́ o tún ní àǹfààní láti gba èlé ẹ̀ẹ́dẹ́gbẹ̀rún lórí èyíkéyìí rìsáàjì tí o bá ṣe àníkún dátà lọ́nà 100 fún oṣù 6 àti ìlọ́po méjì dátà lórí rìsáàjì àkọ́kọ́ rẹ ní oṣù wo ìyẹn gangan ni nine confam látọ̀dọ̀ nine mobile tí ó yọrantí ra síìmù tuntun lónìí tàbí kí o tẹ *1400# lórí ẹ̀rọ alágbèéká rẹ. Nine mobile wà níbí fún ọ wà níbí fún Naija.
tí wọ́n bá lo ráyéwá nítorí pé o lówó lọ́wọ́ tí wọ́n bá ń tàn ọ́ pọ̀ ráyéwá nítorí dúkìá tó pọ̀ tó ní ọkàn ò tí ì balẹ̀ pọ̀ ráyéwá àlàáfíà lògùn ọrọ̀ ṣáájú ara rẹ o ìlera sílẹ̀ mí gígùn gbogbo àrùn tí ń ṣe ẹ̀dá láyé náà kọ́ láyé fi ń ṣe ni bí dọ̀tí bá pọ̀ lára tí gbogbo ẹ́ńjìnì tásẹ̀dá dá bá ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ tó kọsẹ́ má fòyà tó bá ṣe bí ẹni rárá tára rẹ ò ṣe déédéé pinnu ló kan àyà ara rẹ o Benetton cleanser ní kò sẹ́mu agbanugbade fọgẹ̀dẹ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ ara dànù Benetton jagunlabi panko pè ọ̀rẹ́ ara tọmọdé tàgbà tọkùnrin tóbìnrin ló lè lò ó ọ̀sọ́kùnrin sóbìnrin dòpépé Benetton cleanser atẹ́jẹsẹ maradán bíi kóròsìn Benetton cleanser kìkìdé gbòógì tí ò lọ́tínú la fi ṣe ó ti wà káàkiri ilé ìtajà ògùn jákèjádò ilẹ̀ Nàìjíríà a sì ń wá alágbàtà fún Benetton cleanser pé nọ́mbà kò demand 08034051533 08034051533 iléeṣẹ́ ẹ̀mí one naturalist care ló ṣe Benetton cleanser òun láyé tún lò.
gbọ̀ngàn aṣọ kan ń bẹ tí mo fẹ́ ròyìn pastor show ló ń jẹ́ nígbàdí Ìbàdàn bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ìròyà jájọ débẹ̀ o.
kò sáníàní tàbí ṣùgbọ́n bẹ́ẹ̀ èrò wìtìwìtì ní kẹ̀tíkẹ̀tí ó kọjá àfẹnuròyìn lórígun mẹ́rẹ̀ẹ̀rin ìlú ni wọ́n ti wá ń rajà ní pastor shop irú aṣọ wo lẹ́yìn ń fẹ́ gan senator rubato kafani damask material 3-star 5-star 7-star material checkers material german wool australia wool chinos àti gabardine ojúlówó material gidi fún uniform àwọn force suit material guinea foil lace oríṣiríṣi material gèlè fún onírúurú ayẹyẹ pastor shop gbọ̀ngàn ńlá mẹ́ta ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ tó kún fọ́fọ́ ló wà nínú gbági tiwájú tẹ̀yìn green block C128 C136 pẹ̀lú C140 ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ 08034756248 àti 08052023076 pastor shop gbajúgbajà àfin aṣọ lóníranran ni ẹ gbà bẹ́ẹ̀.
ìgbà tí àwọn kan lọ sábùjá tó lọ fagídé gba ìkẹ́ tó lóòótọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ ní ká má sọ wọ́n jàgbá ni. wọ́n jàgbá. bẹ́ẹ̀ tí àwọn tó ń da ẹgbẹ́ rú báyìí irú wọn yẹn bá bọ́ sípò tó lágbára kò lè sí àlàáfíà nínú APC. àwọn wo ni ń dẹgbẹ́ rú yìí. àwọn jàgbá náà ni. àwọn wo ni jàgbá yìí. sẹ́nitọ́ Teslim Fọlárin.
èyí àtàwọn ọ̀rọ̀ míì lẹ́ ó máa gbọ́ lọ́jọ́ ajé ọjọ́ 17 oṣù keje ọdún 2023 láago 11 sí 12 ọ̀sán ẹ pàdé ọmọ yín olólùfẹ́ yín Peter Ọlásùpọ̀ Captain P2 lórí ètò òṣèlú níkànnì 32 FM 94.9 pẹ̀lú àlejò rẹ̀ amòfin Akeem Agbaje ọ̀kan lára àwọn olùdíje fún ipò gómìnà lábẹ́ ẹgbẹ́ òṣèlú APC.
ẹ̀yin ò fìgbà kankan fẹ́ kí wọ́n lo sẹ́nitọ́ Teslim Fọlárin fúnpọ̀ mínísítà rárá bí. gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ APC ìrírí tèmi rí wọn yẹn fáwọn lọ wọn wà lára àwọn tó ń da ẹgbẹ́.
ṣáájú ètò ìdìbò ọdún 2023 tó tún jẹ́ amòfin ọ̀kan lára àwọn àgbà ẹgbẹ́ òṣèlú APC nílẹ̀ yìí ọ̀rọ̀ pọ̀ nínú ìwé kọ́bọ̀ ìpàdé dọjọ́ ajé ẹ kú ojú lọ́nà o.
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9. When the people became silent,
the government became oppressive. It's time to lend your voice to politics.
On 32 FM 94.9.
All right, you're welcome back. And of course, in case you're just joining us, this is the Podium on your Laughter Dive 32 FM 94.9. And of course, we still have the elder son of late Lamidi Adedibo with us in the studios this morning. He's a professor of chemistry. And before we went on that, we're actually talking about the elections, but I really quickly want to chip this in very quickly. Lamidi Gbolabo. Now, many people feel that he has a very... I'm talking about Gbolabo here. Lamidi Adedibo, for instance, is being compared with the likes of Gbolabo and, of course, Agbaje and Akinloye. Now, the comparison is in the light that the intellectual capacity of Gbolabo cannot be compared to what we have Lamidi being displayed. As a matter of fact, while he was still alive, many people had thought to say that Gbolabo has the intellectual capacity. And of course, there was a time he talked about peculiar mess, which is illiterate audience were saying is clemency. And now that's what we still have till today. Now, would you agree that your father, your late father, does not have the intellectual capacity of the likes of Akinloye and, of course, the later Gbolabo here?
Well, with the question you just asked now, the two people you mentioned, they are lawyers. And with the little academic knowledge of my own late father, cannot be comparable with them. And if you go back to the history again, most of my father's political knowledge is being gained from Akinloye. Because Akinloye is a close father to my own late father. So anything that my father is doing, he learned politics from Akinloye up to the time he died. That's just it.
All right, I will also ask you this question. Do you agree with the school of thoughts that your father deployed what is now popularly known as stomach infrastructure, to enslave the people and benefit himself, just like his mentor, Chief Bosari Adelakun? We still call him the mentor, even when you say they are not mentors. History has it that, he's a mentor to your late father.
I disagree.
Okay.
You are so close to Baba, Abi?
No, I say I disagree.
Okay.
Because with this terminology you use now, he gained funds from poor people to enrich himself. I believe that's the question.
Enslave them. It's like you giving them, and of course you're using them.
Mm-mm. Giving you does not mean that he's using you. Recall, I say when he's giving people, when he's feeding people, and if there's any trouble among of those people he's feeding, will be the one that is going to defend him. So that's why the difference is there now. It's not all the people that he's feeding, or all the people that he has assisted in getting political appointment that he used. So I want to clear that terminology.
All right, Prof also has a Dr. Barrister Ogunlola actually has one or two questions too, but I would ask you this. You're an acclaimed scientist and an erudite academician. One would have thought that you would have walked in the footsteps of the late Adedibo. Now, why didn't you go into politics? Because many would have wondered that you should be in politics by now and behave just like your father. You have a striking resemblance with him.
I appreciate that your question. We are not born the same way. Everybody has his own mind.
Is your father truthful as a late politician?
Listen.
Okay.
If my father is in political angle, I have a junior brother who was former senator who's in political angle. Not everybody will be in politics. What you will achieve in your life is different from other people. Many people join politics and they are still suffering it. Many people join politics up to today. From 2015 up to today, he or she has not been able to come out because such person owes money. Owes money, he borrowed. So, if you want to have a peace of mind, follow your career and don't prognose into some political angle. Politics in Nigeria is not peaceful. If it's in a place like United States now, not until I say I'm contesting for this, people will be the ones who's going to say, we want you to contest. But here in Nigeria, if you say you want to contest for any position in Nigeria, make sure you have enough fund.
Enough money.
And there is no proof that you are going to win. Many people go and borrow money from the bank. If you lose the election, what happens? So to have a peaceful mind, don't prognose into the aspect that doesn't belong to you.
All right, as a follow-up to that, the late Adedibo was reported to have demanded 50% of Oyo State security votes, which was at that time was around 30 million naira every month from Governor Rashid Ladoja, who he allegedly installed as a governor in 2003. What do you call that kind of politics?
Just like what you raise the issue now. I'm not a politician. I'm in the government service. What transits between the two of them, I don't know too much about it. But I want you to understand that Senator Ladoja is a senior brother to me and is a son to my late father. What conspired between the two of them is within their own angle. But people are good in fabricating information. Unless you find out the real causes of that issue. When my late father was around, ask any one of you, go to his house to ask him, Adedibu, is it true that You demand for this from Ladoja.
But he did not deny it. Your late father did not deny it. We
Can
saw
you-
the videos on the YouTube. He's still there on the socials. Your
He made
father-
a statement. Point of correction.
Okay.
The video you are talking about, it was a statement I asked. You get my point now? Because I saw the video you are talking about. He says, I asked him to give me this. Am I not right?
Right.
Then, have you been able to go down to my senior Ladoja and say, did you give him the money or what transfer between the two of you before you become a governor? Because when you want to investigate something, you must also find out from both left and right. So not just to conclude, I made a statement. The two of you and myself, were we present when the two of them are making loyalty? Do we know the agreement between the two of them? You get my point now?
Was your late father corrupt?
He's not corrupt now. What is my corruption?
And now, we actually listened to an excerpt before you came in. And he made mention of the fact that whatever Ladoja got from office, he should go and eat it up. You know, go away with it. Nobody, and he doesn't want to share the money that he has gotten out of office. Doesn't that sound like someone who is kind of saying that if you're corrupt, the monies that you've gotten from corruption, the proceeds that you've gotten from corruption, as a public officer, you can go ahead and enjoy it. And saying that there is a legacy in your state, that once you spend 4 years as a first-term governor, you cannot come back for second term. And he said that categorically without mincing words at all. Now, what do we say of your father if you say he's not corrupt with those kind of public statements?
See, define corruption. Nobody can say he's not corrupt. That is the entity of Nigeria. There is no clean person in Nigeria. And we're in the aspect of politics. That's one thing. But one thing I'm still clearing you now is, you should have said, my late father says, anything you have collected, you should go and...
And you don't want to share it. The word language.
See, you should take it and eat it. When somebody is annoyed, anything can come out of your mind. You know that. Without realizing that you have made such statement. But from my own view now, under normal circumstances, if it is true that the two of them have this disagreement, nobody knows what was their agreement before he contested for the post of governorship. Who knows?
But then, before I go to Barrister, just one more point. Okay. Now, from his Molete Palace, he decides who becomes the governor of your state. And now he says that categorically without actually any shade of the fact that elections are there. He says that I determine who sits there. Now, that alone, is that not corruption?
It's not corruption.
Okay. What is it called?
When you are talking of election, 5 people are contesting for one post. The 5 of them came to my late father. He put it in prayer. After putting it in prayer, 3 of them remain. My brother said, okay, you let him go for the governorship. If by the time we get the federal level, you become a minister. If we get the federal level, you become an ambassador. They all agree now. So what has happened now? That is wisdom. God has given my father wisdom to handle the matter.
You call it wisdom?
It's wisdom.
Okay, let me go to Barrister.
Deployment of native intelligence.
Yes, thank you very much. Baba has spoken so much. Now, let's go back to the basics. The late Adedibu was noted for Amala politics. He fed the people. Sorry, sir. He fed the people to get their loyalty. I believe Amala politics has today been replaced with money politics. But my question is not on that. Afin Adedibu used to be a maker of sorts. But since his demise, the palace appears to have gone derelict. And one wonders what his children are doing about that. the place looks abandoned and what have you. So what are the children doing about that? Because if he left legacies that are worthy of preserving, should we allow his palace to degenerate to such a level?
So, Barrister, thank you very much. The palace has not degenerated like you think. It may not be like before, but some politicians are still going there to have meeting. But when you mention that the place has reduced, when you are alive, people will move closer to you to achieve what they want. When you are no more alive, they will depart away from you. Are you not getting me?
Oh, yes.
So, among of those people who are still loyal
Still come
to
there.
my late father,
I believe that Bosse Adedibu is still in the house.
she's still there.
And she is very much active in
Not
the
even only
politics
that.
of,
Most of the politicians in the southwest, they are still using the house for the meeting.
Sorry, before we close the session, I want to ask, how are you celebrating Baba? With all those things you've said about him, there is no lecture about him, there is no, commemorating the life and time of, Baba Adedibu. Because when I teach students in the class, sometimes I cite Baba's, case, because there are some area where people don't look at or they don't really want to investigate concerning Baba when it comes to practical politics. There was a case that happened in Ladukman. They said there was going to be a supplementary election and everybody will be barred from coming there. Baba just, prepare a poster or somebody that...
sorry, let me also add to that. I am happy to disclose to the House that I was a little bit close to Baba when he was alive. And there are some very positive points about him. For instance, I was there when Yaradua brought money. I was there when MKO came, and all that with the bags of money and all that. And one thing I noticed about him, when money lands in Molete Palace, immediately Baba starts the disbursement. What goes to Alafin, what goes to Sean, what goes to this person, he distributes the money right there and then. And the people of Ibadan will forever remember him for that. So for a man of such stature, I think I want to agree with what Doctor is asking. What are we doing to keep that legacy alive?
Well, my colleague, I appreciate your observation that we've not been able to have lectures in memory of my late father. Just about 2 years ago, we launched a book on my late father. And the chief launch was in Obasanjo. So that book is in the UI bookshop. It's available there. But with what you are saying now, we are applying this type of lecture, a memorial lecture. When we are going to do is postmortem birthday, which I'll be able to let you know.
All right, before we go, Professor, I know that Bola Rumi is actually very close to your late father. And of course, from what history showed us, from the incident that happened when he gave up the ghost, the late Adedibu died in his hands. It was right there with him. And now many people felt that he could be a successor of the late Adedibu. Now, who would you say is your father's successor?
Baba's shoes too big. Too big.
Let Professor answer.
That's a good question. It's not easy for someone to say he's going to succeed my late father. It's only God who will determine who will be the successor for my late father. That's just it.
Now, for the June 12th, what would you say was the relationship of your late father and, of course, MK Abiola, the presumed winner of the 1993 elections here? Because many people felt that Adedibo had that meeting with Abacha and wanted the release of your father. But somehow that news got to some Afenifere leaders, and they insisted that he mustn't succumb to some of the conditions given by the junta government as at then, and he died for it. Now, what would you say is that relationship and what happened?
If Abiola could have listened to my late father, he wouldn't have died in the prison. Because my father looked at what has happened to late Chief Obafemi Awolowo. The same allegation against Chief Awolowo was alleged to Abiola threatening. And when my father advised him, said, look, it's better for you to allow this June 12th to pass. What will be your own will be your own. But he insists. It's not that even insists, but if you look at the history of Nigeria now, the whole Yoruba people were very. When Abiola was going for primary election, we still remain very. When he won the election, we still remain very. But when they cancelled the June 12th, another group of people now came up to be Nedeko. Am I not right?
Right.
It was those Nedeko who advised him he should not accept the condition given to him. Now, if you look at the history today, among of those people who say he should not accept the condition given to him, they are still alive. So that's why when somebody advises you, say, try to listen. There must be a reason why such people said it. So, since he refused to listen to my late father, that is why he faced the consequence.
There was a good relationship between the late MK Abiola and your father, obviously, from what you've said.
It was my late father who played a vital role for him to win the primary election during the SDP in Jos. That is where the relationship become close. So that's just it.
All right, before we let you go, and of course, we'll open the phone lines very quickly to actually get some of our listeners also talk to you this morning and also be part of the conversation. I was also going to ask you, what do you think about the President Tinubu's administration so far? Does it reflect the wishes of the people? And to add to it, the impact of your father's exploit in terms of politics in Nigeria, what is the impact on democracy today? And obviously, what is the Tinubu presidency to you? What does it look like so far?
Well, I cannot assess him now.
It's too early to do that.
It's too early to assess.
Okay.
That's just it.
Even with the subsidy removal.
You are aware of
even
the
with
fact
the
that
8,000 naira
no. See,
being designed to be given to the poorest of the poor.
See. I'm happy you've already mentioned certain issues.
I was wondering when you said it was too early.
It's too early to assess.
Okay.
Because when you are planning something, there must be a solution to what you are planning. If you talk of first subsidy, what would be the solution to relieve people's problem? Those are the things we have to look at. Because before you do anything, what's the next solution?
But is this, you know why I'm asking this question? Because you're speaking from the Southwest, and whether we like it or not, ethnicity still plays volume in this electoral process.
Of course.
Tinubu is representing an ambassador for the Southwest. And many people believe that the Southwesterners are more educated, more exposed. Now we can forgive some sins coming from other part of the country, but it's always unforgivable for a Southwesterners to be in the position of leadership and fail. Now, is Tinubu so far a good ambassador of the Southwest? And also looking at what the late Adedibo has done in terms of actually ensuring that the downtrodden get food, in spite of the fact that we might have misgivings, the Amala politics and the beggary. Now, for Tinubu, do you think he has lived up to expectations with all what the Afenifere has been fighting from years back, from the 50s till now? Is this a good representation? 8,000 naira for families, 12 million families. It doesn't make any sense.
I'm still saying it. As far as I'm concerned, either I'm from Southwest or Southeast or Northeast or North Central, politician will be able to assess him high. But I, as a technocrat, I will not be able to give you my own assessment now. You get my point now? We are still studying.
For how long? And don't you think that is the problem we're having? The technocrats always run away from politics. And now we complain at the end of the day that the politicians are the problem. What about the technocrats?
No, the technocrats will tell you the truth. But the politicians will not listen to technocrats because they have that belief that whatsoever they want to do, they must do it by force. So, most of the politicians sometimes, they make certain decisions without knowing what will be the consequence of it later. You get my point now? That's why we are still in trouble in this country. If you are in the political angle in Nigeria, you should understand that you are dealing with people with a lot of intelligence. And there is no way you can use autocratic to handle them. When you talk of changing the fuel from 140 to 500, what's the next solution? This is what I'm bringing to you now. I'm a Yoruba man.
I think if you will permit me, let me come in aid of Baba there. So far, I don't think there's anything that Tinubu has done. And what Baba was saying about being too early to do the assessment it appears agreeable to me. The issue of subsidy was removed by the Buhari administration. It was not Bola Ahmed Tinubu that did that. The issue of paying 8,000 naira to the poorest of the poor was a program that was also initiated under the government of Buhari. So we cannot assess him based on the programs of his predecessor, although I do agree with you that, his input matters. And I think that's what majority of Nigerians are now saying. Rather than this wasteful expenditure, why not sit down and find a way, to invest that money properly, instead of...
that is barrister's contention. All right, let me quickly open this. Sorry, Prof. Let me just open the phone line so that we can take 2 calls at least before leaving the studios with this particular topic itself. The numbers for you to call are 070-55,949 or 080-97,949. For international audience, +234 90 62,949. Remember, we are also live on Facebook and also on YouTube. You can drop your comments there. All right, Prof, you wanted to chip something in.
Yeah, just like what the barrister was saying. If you understand that before Tinubu win the election, people say he's going to continue the job of Buhari. So this is a kind of continuation of what Buhari did.
Ground, yes.
So therefore, there is no way you can now say you are going to assess. Am I not right? So that's just it.
Well, it's your contention against what many Nigerians actually feel, because they feel that when you have a new government, there should be a new leaf, and there should be instances of succor. Now, there should be policies that will address the mistakes of the past, even when government is a continuum. Building roads is a continuum. Infrastructural development is a continuum, but policies are populist. I think it needs to have some sort of succor. But I'll go back to Doctor very quickly, but let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, please. What's the name and where are you calling us from?
My name is Moses. I'm calling you from Ayegu.
All right, please go ahead.
Okay, please. I want to say... From the day one, we can say that money shows the day for this current administration. Money shows the day. Yoruba will say, Ojuto Baba Banikala Kintaro Shipping. Presently, anybody that is going to govern Nigeria that is prepared must already have a blueprint. And so if you see now they are trying, Nigeria is try and error. So I don't think, if the doctor said he cannot assess, we are just being diplomatic with the truth. Presently, it cannot offer anything because removing the subsidy. If they say they remove the subsidy, in my own thinking is that okay, we cannot pay subsidy again. Go and collect the subsidy from Nigerians. So they put the hardship on us, and they don't. And now it's a propaganda to be telling us that it's so. When Obasanjo was going in 2007. He increased the subsidy. When Yaradua came, he reduced it. So there can be a changes. We have not seen a changes. Rather, we are going more in hardship. God will help us in this country. I'm telling you, God will help us.
All right.
We didn't have anything to offer.
Oh,
We have
okay.
anything.
Okay, that's actually very judgmental. All right, let me go to doctor.
When you are coming to assessment of the new president, his administration, we need to have some indicators, yardsticks, and that has to do with his manifestos.
Exactly.
You understand?
Exactly.
Most of all those things he said,
exactly.
he has started, doing them. And we need to begin to question, interrogate, what are what are we anticipating to get as a result? Because when you look at the first, everybody, almost all Nigerians agreed that fuel subsidy is a scam and must be removed. For taking that bold step to start to implement, as Barrister has said, because he was not the one that made the policy. The policy has been made.
All right.
And okay.
Sorry, doctor, we have
Hello,
a caller
good morning.
here.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone in the studio. This is John Olariwaju from Ogunpa.
All right, please go ahead, John.
First and foremost, we really do appreciate for the life of Baba Adedibu. Also, I'm in Badamount too. So, today, we still miss Baba. When we talk about politics of Ibadan, we really miss Baba. Because what Baba says in Ibadan, when you talk about the politics, is guaranteed that 80 or 85% will come to pass. So let him still continue rest in peace. On the issue of subsidy, as far as I'm concerned, to me, they make it to us as a scam. And those that even make it to us as a scam, they are the ones that using the subsidy saga to torment Nigeria today. My own take is this. It is better for Mr. President and the federal government to return the subsidy. There is no amount of the relief called palliative that you can throw to the people that can bring the relief to them. Because, first and foremost, they will jeopardize it. We have seen the cases of it during the last administrator. They did not use anything called palliative as a meaningful to any Nigerian. So therefore, to me, in my own suggestion, let him bring back our subsidy back. That is the solution, because I don't know why you will say you remove the subsidy. At the end of the day, you will be giving us 8,000 in which it will not go into the pocket of many Nigerians. Why it will go straight to the pocket of many politicians? Right now, the politicians, the House of Assembly, were also asking for their own money. Thank you and good morning.
All right, thank you so much, Olanrewaju. Doctor, before we had that.
Okay, many Nigerians are, they are expecting too much. Because to whom much is given, much is expected. So that is why, we are not so, patient, to see the dividends.
For the last caller, I think there is a lot of sense in what he said. Because we have also heard that it is not subsidy that is actually the problem. It is corruption. There is nowhere in the world where government does not subsidize, services, and goods and services for its people. But that the corruption within the system is what needs to be checked. But whether Nigeria is ripe enough or strong enough to contain that corruption is another question for another day. I think we have another caller.
Okay.
There.
Hello, good morning. Do we have a caller here? Hello, good morning. All right, the numbers are still 070-55,949 or 080-97,949 plus 234-9062,949 for international audience here. Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning. This is Onolapo Kazim from Ibadan.
All right, please go ahead, Onolapo.
Firstly, I will need to advise our guest there, the son of Alhaji Adedibu, that the property of Alhaji Adedibu should be handed over to a state government to be used as hospitals. Are you getting it? So that, for instance, we have Oni and Sons Hospital. The property was given to the state government by someone. So they should do that in order to remember the Baba forever and ever. Are we getting it? The secondly, as regards the subsidy removal, the money the federal government has just got from the National Assembly, the 500 billion naira, By my own calculation, 36 times 13 will give us 168 billion naira. That is 13 billion naira will go to a state. Let the money be used to subsidize foodstuff and buses, transport services, and healthcare delivery for the masses. Let them remove the subsidy on fuel and should be channeling the money towards food production, healthcare services, and transport services. May God help us.
All right, I think that question is actually for Prof. Now, I know at a point in time, Irish Shekola, before he died, was given the mandate to do a will for Adidibu. Your late father could not do a will. And that has been a major problem for you and even your siblings in terms of allocating some of these properties. Now, from that suggestions, will you go by it so that there won't be fights? You're also very careful as the eldest son to begin to determine who gets this and who gets that. Now, will that be a solution to it?
That's not the only solution, because we have power of, we have letter of administration. So it is the administrator who will determine how we are going to do the distribution of the my late father's property.
But what was the reason why your father never had a will? And of course, at the late hour, he was thinking about Irish Shekola doing that will for him, which he doesn't want to offend anybody. It took time and he died before he actually did that.
Not that Irish Shekola didn't try. Before he died, he ensured that we share some of his clothes, shoes, and so on. But when it comes to the real estate, that is where God called him. And after he died, one of my late father's friends, late Chief Adigun, he stepped into it, and it was through his own we decided to have sole administrator. So that's just it. So right now, we are still processing the new sole administrator, still in the court.
All right. So from these suggestions, will you say some of these properties, you don't even know how many estates your father has? He doesn't have document for most of them.
Well,
he just takes his boys there. He doesn't take the children there. For some of these properties.
I agree with you, because
so
sometimes my father will buy a property without taking any of his children there. He may say, you, who followed him, hold this. Who knows if that person must take over the property. So with what you are saying, the ones that we know, we are going to share it.
Not giving it out, like the caller was suggesting.
We are not giving it out. We the children need it too.
Maybe the beneficiary will decide whether to use it for the state or not.
That is it.
I know when you get to your turn, you remember the state.
All right, let's take this call. We have another caller here. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, ma.
All right, we are getting feedback. Can you just turn down the audio? Yes, can you turn down the audio?
Move away from your radio set.
On the palliative issue, I want to suggest, I don't think we need to argue this thing for too much. We have this, we can use this political, where we did our voting. That thing goes to the root. Then among us in that community, we know the big men, we know those that are not even well to do, that this money can go to. Except the big men that have no shames can even go and queue up for 8,000. So why don't we use that system to do that? That's what I'm thinking, that to get down to the less privileged, the poor to the poorer, let's use that. Instead of going to share the money like they did in the north, nothing happens. Only they came to Odoba to distribute for a few people, and that says that the whole Ibadan has gotten money, how do you call it?
All right, we must say a big thank you to you. We have another guest standing by, and of course, Baba is still very much with us. Baba will indulge you to actually enjoy this interview as well. It's also in the light of the present situation because of our time. We have Dr. Kayode Ajulo here. Dr. Kayode Ajulo is a constitutional lawyer, and of course, is a teacher, a politician, and former National Secretary of the Labour Party. He's also joining us virtually this morning. I guess we have to take this breather. Once we come back, we'll have him right on with us in the studios.
Àṣejù ní ká gbé sí rédíò mi 32 FM ti wà òkè. mo ní kí n rán yín létí ni o.
ṣé ti wáyà ni.
mi ò létí yín yà mo tiẹ̀ jẹ́rìí yín pé tí ẹ lè gbàgbé.
pé kí ni.
pé lọ́jọ́ àìkú Sunday tó tún bọ̀ yìí ńlá kọ́tún ètò ta ló mọlúwa.
ṣé tọ́pẹ́ fọ́làánú máa ń ṣe ni.
tó ní gègé àrà ọmọ ìyá àdúrà máa ń ṣe ni.
mo mọ̀ láago 11 láàárọ̀ sí 2 lọ́sàn-án.
ẹ ti gẹ́ẹ̀tì ẹ̀ jù níkànnì adẹ́rìn-pòṣónú 32 FM 94.9 láti jọ máa kí oríkèé Olódùmarè tẹ́ ó sì tún máa jẹ̀bù tẹ́ ẹ bá ti dá ìbéèrè láti inú Bíbélì. ètò ta ló mọlúwa tọjọ́ àìkú Sunday tó ń bọ̀ yìí tún máa dùn yàtọ̀ jọ́.
Òkè Ìbàdàn. máa pe ìlú Ìbàdàn ní ìdìde mi.
Ìbàdàn ìlú tí a ní o páàsì tí lè fi nǹkan bẹ̀ sí é.
bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe pé ìwọ̀n ti fẹ́ mọ jòwú. ẹ ti pè mọ́ra yín jù.
ètò Òkè Ìbàdàn ní gbogbo ọjọ́ àbámẹ́ta sátidé láago 8 sí 9 alẹ́ pẹ̀lú Tèmiládé Àlòkò Ahọ́ndìwúrà.
ẹ bá ń gbọ́ ohùn òkè láǹtí.
Òkè Ìbàdàn á gbè wá o.
kó wá rí ọmọ Ìbàdàn yóò ṣẹ̀rù.
Iṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀ níṣẹ́ ilé wa.
Iṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀ níṣẹ́ àwọn bàbá wa lóòótọ́ àmọ́ lóde ìsẹ̀yìn ìlú ti yí orin ti chẹ́ǹjì. àtọmọdé àtàgbà kò sẹ́ni fẹ́ ṣiṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀ mọ́ ẹbí wọn sì kọ́ àìnímọ̀ àti àìlóye tó nípa iṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀ ló ń fa kùdé ìdí rèé tí ọmọ ẹlẹ́ran fi wá ń jẹ gungun tọ́rọ̀ bá wá rí báyìí ó níbi tá à ń gbé ka iléeṣẹ́ alálùbáríkà OOK Farms ti fọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ pẹ̀lú iléeṣẹ́ aláyọ̀ 32 FM 94.9 láti ṣe àgbékalẹ̀ ètò àrà ọ̀tọ̀ tá a pè ní Awake with OOK Farms níbi tí àwọn àwòrò ṣàṣà nípa iṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀ yóò ti máa dá wa lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ gbà wá níyànjú ró wa lágbára nípa iṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀ àti bí a ti lè ṣe láṣejìrì lọ́nà tó bá ti òde òní mu ẹ darapọ̀ mọ́ ọmọ yín ọ̀rẹ́ yín Peter Ọlásùpọ̀ Captain P2 àti àwọn akọ́ṣẹ́mọṣẹ́ láti iléeṣẹ́ OOK Farms ní gbogbo ọjọ́ àbámẹ́ta sátidé láti aago 6 sí 7 ìrọ̀lẹ́ lórí ètò Awake with OOK Farms. jí má sùn lórí iṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀.
iṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀ iṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀ ká ṣiṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀ tó lè gbà.
orin yìí láti ẹ̀rí rẹ̀.
bẹ́ẹ̀ni kì í ṣòní ó ti pẹ́ gan tọ́lọ́run alààyè tó lànà láàrin aginjù tó sì tún pín òkun pupa níyà ti ń gbẹnu comrade Taiwo Aládé Apostle Tèkóbọ̀ sọ̀rọ̀ agbára lórí afẹ́fẹ́ tí àwọn oníkòjìpò ènìyàn sì ń tipasẹ̀ rẹ̀ jẹ́rìí sí àmì àti ìyanu orin ìyìn àti ẹ̀rí rẹ̀ ẹ jẹ́ ká pàdé Apostle Tèkóbọ̀ nínú agbami ìyìn èyí tó ń ṣàtọ́kùn àwọn ẹ̀rí kọ̀ǹgbẹ̀kọ̀ǹgbẹ̀ ní ìkànnì 32 FM 94.9 ní dédé aago 9 sí aago 11 òwúrọ̀ 9 to 11 a.m. ní gbogbo ọjọ́ Sunday níbi tí ìyìn yóò ti máa pe ẹ̀rí ránníṣẹ́ sáyé oníkòjìpò ènìyàn tí ẹ̀rí yóò sì máa fọ̀hún ìyẹn nígbà tí a bá ń fi orin yìí fa ọwọ́ Ọlọ́run wálẹ̀ fún iṣẹ́ agbára ìwé mímọ́ sọ wípé ẹ wá sí àgbàlá rẹ̀ tẹ̀yìn torí yín kí ẹ sì yìn pẹ̀lú símbálì olóhùn gooro abala àkọ́kọ́ lórí ètò ni abala yíyan Ọlọ́run níbi tí ẹ̀rí yóò ti máa fara abala ẹ̀kejì ni abala tí a yà sọ́tọ̀ fún àwọn opó àti àwọn àkàndá ẹ̀dá abala ẹ̀kẹta ni abala ǹjẹ́ ìwọ mọ bíbélì níbi tí a ó ti máa ṣe àtúpalẹ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ nínú bíbélì yálà láti inú èdè Hébérù tàbí Gíríkì ìpàdé dọjọ́ Sunday ní aago 9 sí aago 11 òwúrọ̀ lórí ìkànnì 32 FM 94.9 comrade Taiwo Aládé Apostle Tèkóbọ̀ ti wà ní 32 FM 94.9 orin ìyìn àti ẹ̀rí rẹ̀ ìwọ lẹ̀rí kàn.
However, I don't think it would ever be the same. I feel guilty because I feel like all this has happened because of me.
Well, the chronicle of the traverse of the Ekoromados, that is the family, all of them is well known to the whole world, and it's quite pathetic. Pathetic in the sense that Modern Day Slavery Act of 2015 is a new law in the United Kingdom. A critical examination of that law, it could happen to anyone, and that is the basic. I know a lot of people will be saying that it serves Ekweremadu right. Yes, he is one of those politicians in Nigeria that have sucked us dry, so he must go for it. Not minding that all of us, including Kayode Ajulo that is sitting here, can be found wanting of that law. Let me give you an example. Many Nigerians do send their mother-in-laws or their mother to UK to take care of their newborn baby. They can be found foul of that law. Because the major issue here is that transporting anybody for exploitation you can be found wanting under that law. So what I'm trying to say is that it could happen to anyone. Yes, it is wrong to move anybody from anywhere for organ transplant.
All right, we have Dr. Kayode Ajulo is a lawyer, teacher, politician, and former National Secretary of the Labour Party joining us virtually this morning. It's great to have you join us. Good morning, Dr. Kayode. Good morning. Can you hear us loud and clear? Okay, before we go into the main issues, in May you wrote King Charles III begging for prerogative of mercy for former Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu and his wife Beatrice. How did that go? Okay.
We are dealing with the UK here.
Okay.
If you call, try to find out, and they tell you that it's the under processing.
Hmm.
And I think we should allow instead of commenting on it again.
Okay.
Pending when you hear the final words from them.
All right, that will be fine. All right, that takes me down to some of the things that you expected from this government. You had asked President Bola Tinubu to appoint a seasoned, intelligent, and diplomatic chief to the position of National Security Advisor. Does the appointment of Nuhu Ribadu as NSA tick the box for you, or you were disappointed over the emergence of Nuhu Ribadu?
These are quite difficult questions, particularly when it comes to this. Bola Tinubu did not hold anybody any explanation as of now, particularly from me, on who he or think things he should appoint. But what I raised and the reason I did that and saying that it must be someone with such background is knowing fully well that security itself now has gone cyber. Security has gone diplomatic. Security is more of intelligence. And if you know, most of our problem, most of the insurgency, they seem to be something from external side. If you notice very well, apart from one or two instances, all our neighbors, they are basically French-speaking countries. And when we talk of bandits, it is more of migration of some people that cause it. So my thinking is, to talk of the security, particularly NSA, we need someone with such that come from that background, diplomatic background, intelligence community that seem to know them very well. But for by and large, seeing what we have from Nuhu Ribadu, when you looked at it, he happened to be a policeman who their core cooperation is basically about intelligence gantry and all, not the physical where you think of using force and brute to do what you are doing. To me, I think it's still writing in right direction. No Ribadu is what many people, because many people kept saying it must be one of the former service chief, it must be a soldier, it must be an army, it must be this. And I think to me, it is okay. And mind you, we are talking of a commander-in-chief of the armed forces that seem to have all the informations around him. To choose Nuhu Ribadu, I believe he must have some privileged information that a minor like us may not have. And as it is, the appointment has been made, the confirmation has been made, and what I think we should be waiting for is to pray for both the president and his appointees to do what is right, because if anything should go wrong, it is not only them that will be affected. You and I and everybody will be affected.
All right, to the main issue of the day. A federal high court has ordered for details of the spending of $5 billion Abacha recovered funds under the government of ex-president Obasanjo Yar'Adua. Can we get your perspective on this? Because obviously they've gone to court talking about Serap here, and of course this is the judgment of the courts to have this ex-president give an account of this monies coming from Abacha loot.
Well, as a lawyer, before discussing anything that has to do with the issue of court, it is always good to see the paper, the process, and again to see the ruling or the judgment. Like I told you the last time we discussed, I told you I've not seen this document, these processes, and it will be fully RD of me to comment on what I did not have a full brief about. I'm sorry, I won't be able to respond to that.
All right, but all in all, looking at the Abacha loot and how much more the recovery has been done in patches, we had it in batches. What is your perspective in terms of expenditure, not even looking at the court case here, looking at the fact that Abacha loot has been recovered for the country, and so far the Buhari government have been telling us about infrastructure development with some of these funds. Are you satisfied as a legal practitioner with the level of expenditure of these funds?
Well, if you want my sincere response from me, let me start from trying to give a background of this Abacha loot. reality sometimes may be different from what is being peddled in the public space. Abacha, yes, happened to be a despot. Abacha, yes, happened to be a dictator, but during his reign, he ran a government. And like every other government, those governments always have some foreign accounts, keeping money and all that. And I want to believe this happened to be some of the money. But unfortunately, maybe because the way and manner the accounts are being opened and are being operated may not be well documented, because it seemed that every day people just kept stumbling on some amount of money somewhere, and once such amount of money is revealed, is for it to be repatriated and returned back to the country. So though everybody call it Abacha loot, whether it is Abacha loot or it's Abacha saving, what matters most is that this money belongs to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and it must be expended for the good of the people of the country. And commenting on whether the government has done what is right or not depends on the way and manner, because I know to repatriate or to get this money from some countries, because I'm aware of some countries even giving some conditions. Recently, some people approached me to ask that there's some money that they've gotten the judgment to be returned to Nigeria, but with some condition that there must be some undertaking that the money will not go the same way where the money is coming from. That is to go to private hands. And they are saying that it must be for some project and co. And before releasing the money, it'd be nice to know what exactly proposed how the money will be spent. To me, I see this as wrong. I don't think anybody need to dictate to me how I'm going to spend the money. But by the time you look at where those people say we're making this condition, they are coming from, that they don't really want this money to go back to where it's coming from. I think that's what it is. But discussing basically about Abacha loot or Abacha saving or whatever amount or whatever name nomenclature we can give it, we need clear, definite, and wide, comprehensive discussion, because what is being peddled in public space is very far from the truth of it, very far. And that is why, for one to start discussing it today, we may not end it. The first question is to know which of the money, to identify which of money was legitimately saved, because it is part of the running of government for government to have some money in foreign accounts for the security. I remember during the World War II, Americans has to move some of their goods to another country, and they have to move their money too, because of the fear that if they were bombarded, their goals will go the same way. So it's for us to know which one is legitimately saved and which one is illegally taken away. And the way and manner all the such categories of fund and deposit will be returned back to the country or will be recovered will be different. But what matters most is that step is being taken. Every day we are hiring Abacha loot, and I must tell you for free that in the next 20 years, we will still continue to hear about Abacha loots, so to speak.
All right, let's go back. Let's go to Barrister now. Barrister, you might have some words for our guest here.
Yes. Ajulo, good morning. My learned
Good
colleague.
morning.
Now,
Good morning.
I want to ask, are you still with Labour Party?
Well, I don't think that it should be the question for the day. But if I must say, I publicly resigned and voluntarily in 2015 as the National Secretary of the Labour Party.
Okay.
And I think since then to today, I publicly resigned, and I made it so clear the reason I'm resigning, which I mentioned that first, I need to concentrate on my law practice, and again, I need to do all my public spirited engagement that I need to go back and engage in it. And I think that is what I believe I've been doing. And I think I need to let you know that today, I'm here to belong to I'm here to be a card-carrying member of any political party. But I must say this, most of the political party, one way or the other, I really have time to engage my service as a lawyer, both in court and outside the court, to do one or two things for them, which I've been doing.
That's I think that very well answers my question. I don't know if doctor has.
Okay, thank you very much, Barrister, and thanks for the insight you have given concerning Abacha loot. I want to ask you, sir. The system that allowed this kind of problem, that allow a sitting president, to loot the treasury. We don't even know the amount now, but so far they said they have recovered about $3.5 billion dollars. So, do you think this system has been reformed, or what do you think we should do, to stop this kind of system? Are we going to be waiting for our leaders to die before we are going to investigate them? Because I know that even this Abacha loot, with the recovery, started under Abdul Salami administration, because about $500 million dollar was recovered. Now we cannot see what they have done with the money. What do you think we can do to this system that is allowing our leaders to loot the treasury? Then secondly, was it only Abacha that looted our treasury? Where are other people like we are talking about
stashed away the monies?
The bureaucracy,
right?
Because no single person, no single leader, can loot the treasury to the extent of the kind of amount that we are hearing now. So how are we going to investigate that? Because some of them are alive, and some of them are still living large, with whatever they have gotten from. This looting whatever exercise. What I'm so particular about is what can we do to stop it? And one of those things is to ensure that those who have been involved should be investigated, interrogated, and if possibly severely punished, to serve as deterrent to others. Because from the look of things, I don't see any change. So far from 1999 up to 2023, because the same system is still running, and we don't even know the amount of money that have been looted under President Muhammadu Buhari. So, Barrister, what can we do, to address this issue of systemic failure?
Okay, thank you for that question. And on a lighter mode, I think I need to let you know that the question you asked me, you seem to have even answered most of the question. That is one.
Obviously, I was going to say that.
You seem to have answered the question,
Okay.
so I'm even wondering why this question when you seem to even have a full brief of the whole thing. But on the more serious note, like I said, that's why I'm a little bit taken aback when I was asked to discuss about Abacha, because first I have never and have not up to now claimed to be an authority on the issue of Abacha loot. But the little I know about the issue is nomenclature may be different. Maybe maybe Nigerian press may seem to adopt the words Abacha loot, and that one is quite confusing because of the little I know about this so-called loot. In every given government do have dealing. Like, for example, a lot of people do come to Nigeria to buy our oil from Venezuela, from Brazil, from America, even from UK, and most of them, they may be individual. And sometimes when we are negotiating, the idea is that you are going to give me some barrels of oil at XYZ amounts, and where am I going to pay the money? And the money will be domiciled in so banks, in so place. Maybe preferably, which I know very well, it will not be in Nigeria. And sometimes you find out that most of these deposits are virtually all over the world. If you remember very well, right under our nose, the former MD, the Emir of Kano, that's Lamido Sanusi, if you remember during Jonathan, raised some issue that over 20 billion naira dollars that's supposed to be that's supposed to be for Nigeria is unaccounted for. And not accounted for, not that it is looted, but because it has been paid, but they are yet to really move it. And this is one of what constitutes most of what we call this Abacha loot. It is not basically that all the money were moved from Nigeria and quickly sent abroad. You find out that most of them is originated from the same originating bank till today. And I'm like to your question, which you have to the unanswered one. One thing is that there is a system. The way government fund is being managed and is being disbursed, and the system allows for this. But the question is the sincerity of purpose, and to ensure that all the money is being expended for the purpose that it is done. You find out that sometimes the amount may be a mark for the purchase of arms that legitimately left the shore of the country to some country, and maybe getting there, instead of buying the arms, it goes to another way. And that's the question now is, how do we regulate that? The only way to regulate that is to ensure that what the purpose of sending money there, because I'm yet to see where money is, when it comes to looting, particularly when it comes to government looting, nobody take a wholesale money and disappear. There must be a reason for that. The question now is that, has that reason been met? For example, I asked that I wanted to buy toothpick for Villa, and I'm giving 50 billion naira. And both the 50 billion naira and the toothpick, I cannot see. Whereas somebody somewhere, maybe the storekeeper has already written that everything has been that everything has been supplied. So I believe it's an holistic issue, and it's just so unfortunate. And I think that is the issue of trust.
Okay.
Public trust, particularly when it comes to public accounts. I think this thing needs to be fixed. And mind you, when we talk of the issue of Abacha, it is done. That's why I mentioned that this man is a despot. He's a what you call dictator. Where at that time you don't have check and balances. You don't have the National Assembly breathing on his neck, or we don't have even anybody to ask questions. And this is the regime that we even have they are calling something outside clauses, that the court cannot get some things done. You can understand what I'm trying to say. But presently, we have such mechanism. But the problem is, like I do tell people, Nigeria happens to be a country where we are policed by good laws. But the implementation of that law and ensuring that efficient application of that law is where we have problems.
The problem. All right, because of our time, and of course for follow-up to that, because I know that we also have professors here. Dr.
Yes.
Okay, Barrister, you also have. But as a follow-up to that, under the needs economic policy of the federal government, that the federal government of Nigeria received repatriated funds of Abacha loot in 2005 from Switzerland with agreement to develop 5 key sectors of the economy: health, water resources, education, and electricity. What is your assessment of the progress or lack of it in these areas, especially looking at what has been going on in these key areas? And now let's also quickly go back to the time of late Yar'Adua. He actually had some kind of point agenda. He had key sectoral agenda that he made sure that, became his own blueprint and, of course, his master plan to achieve economic development. Now, from all of this, what do we make out of the processes so far?
What I can say I make of the process is that there is no sincerity I want to believe that it cuts across board. Both those to implement it, both to release the money, those that need the money. Let me give you an example. If you remember about 2 years ago, there is this issue that we are talking of Abacha loot. There is this Ibori loot, where some money is being returned to Nigeria, repatriated. If you notice very well, you can see the Alaba load, the chaos, the issues that caused even for the money to even come. Some people went to court, where some people in Niger Delta, some people in Delta State, some people in Lagos, saying the money belongs to them. You can see at the end of the day, till today, nobody can even tell you this is what has come out from that issue. And mind you, we should not be surprised when it comes to money, particularly those who wanted to make it, just to take money by as it pleases them. I think this is where we have problem. And like I said, the problem is not just you can't blame just one single entity. Both the should I call it both the predator and the victims are guilty of the same crime there. And that's why
sometimes some of us we are always a bit hesitant to discuss the issue. It is more deeper than what we are discussing here, because by the day, for example, if today 5 billion naira is coming to Nigeria, you'll be shocked the way you see different issues, different people, different stakeholders, different interested parties and the litigation that will be visited on the issue. That at the end of the day, you won't even know how the matter is settled.
All right, Barrister, quickly on this. Sorry,
Yes,
Dr.
Doctor, I was particularly happy when you tried to make a distinction between money saved and the so-called loot, because I have read several reports. Abacha's time was a very, very turbulent time. Abacha is the first head of state in Nigeria, first leader in Nigeria to have looked America in the face and called its bluff. Abacha opened the way into Southeast Asia. And there is the argument, there is the argument that while Abacha was selling our crude, he could not save money into a Nigerian account for fear of sanctions of, the imperialists who were really after him.
Exactly.
But my question now is this. With all that has happened, wouldn't it have been prudent for the Nigerian government to at least have a kind of panel to investigate the sales that were made during Abacha's time, to investigate the accounts into which such monies were paid, rather than these surprises where we just get somebody comes and says, no, there's money in our own account. Don't you think we need a high-powered panel sponsored by government to look into all of this, thoroughly investigate it, and come up with their findings?
Thank you, Prof. For free, I think I need to tell you that we have plethorias, if I must use that word, plethorias of panels that have looked into it, and they've seemed to identify. Even that is the reason that we can keep on saying Abacha. But this recovery and discovery is continuum. Let me give you an example. That was the time that the one of the son of the General Abacha was detained by that time. That at the end of the day, I may not verify this, but that's one of the conditions of the release is if you could be able to mention where the dead body are buried. Let me use that word. And I think he did some revelation, and that is more like a plea bargain. And I remember that one of the governors in the south, in the I think northwest, who is well known, who seemed to be the main henchman, made a lot of revelation that even from anyway. What I'm saying, because this is open space, what I'm saying basically that I may not confirm the veracity of the claim that even made some discounts were even paid to him. And let me confess again that most of the lawyers or the group that always say they are recovering this money, they are entitled to some discount, that's percentage for what it is. So it's like you discover this, you get this from it, and this has been going for long. And that one is, to me, is like money laundering, in the situation that I'm the one that kept the money here, and you promise that you are going to pay me so percentage if I can return the money. It's like I'm just discounting you, and I'm getting some part of the money. Though some people may clearly tell you that is the only way we can have the money back, but it is just so much.
All right, Dr. Ajula, our time is actually fast spent. I quickly want to touch on the socials and also allow some of those who have been listening to us also call in very quickly, because we have barely 2 minutes to leave the studio thereabout. The numbers are 0705550, that's 55949, or 080977949. For our international audience, +234 9062,949. And quickly looking at Facebook, quite interesting comments here. I've been reading a couple of them. Barrister should tell us how much he collected when Baba was sharing the money, as he mentioned. All right, and he's also saying that's okay, Baba. So he's also saying, Gbolabo, most of those questions, Prof was not part of the meeting. Hence, he picks the questions to answer. Okay. We also have this one, Suruke, doctor. Okay, I think that is Dr. Olave. In front of hardship, you should be fair to Nigerian because things are very difficult. I think it's on the subsidy issue. And this is also saying, I want to advise all Nigerians, that's Adini Adekonle Sonny is saying, I want to advise all Nigerians to please send an email to World Bank on grievances@worldbank.org about how our government wants to spend the loan giving. We need to start fighting this battle in another form. If 1 million Nigerians can send email to them, it will catch them the attention. All right, we still have Dr. Ajulo virtually with us this morning, and of course we have Professor Adedibo too in the studios. He had talked earlier about the legacies of the late Adedibo, who happens to be his father.
No, wait,
all right, our time is actually fast.
Before you sign off,
okay,
is it Okebola that because the name of the person that wrote concerning Baba's money?
Okay, that is Okediro.
Okediro, sure. Are you trying to collect palliative from me?
I thought Barrister was trying to defend himself. That he didn't get part of the largesse.
Hello, please. We discussed about that. I don't really know the money I'm here to give account to. If I should know, is that for me, I preach transparency, I preach accountability. I should be able to say if I receive any money, and even if I should be able to say the reason why that money is. There is no law that makes one not to collect any money. But I think I need to know the question so I will be able to answer.
Actually, that question was not for you.
It was
for me. Yes, it was for me. You know, our discussion on Adedibo, you know, so that wasn't actually for you.
All right, our time is actually fast, but we have to go. Dr. Ajulo, we say a big thank you to you for joining us all the way from Abuja. We really appreciate your time on the podium this week. Thank you so much. And of course, to our Baba in the studio, Baba, we must say a big thank you for keeping you exercising you this morning. We say a big thank you for being in our studios. Any last parting shot from you as we go, sir?
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right, to our panelists, I say a big thank you to Barrister Yomi Ogunlola and, of course, Dr. Stephen Lafenwa. Thank you so much for doing this with us this morning. My name is Gbolabo Fimosko. Join us again next week for another interesting edition. Bye for now.
You're tuned into 32 FM 94.9. The first station dedicated to bringing you joy, happiness, and laughter. The joy of a great nation rests on the shoulders of a radio station.
Camera active.
Your music. 32 FM 94.9.
I want you to be mine.
tó bá jẹ́ tètò tó kọ́ni lọ́gbọ́n orin àtàṣà táyé fẹ́ máa gbọ́ eré aládùn eré ìdárayá ìròyìn àsìkò tó bójú owó kápolówó ọjà kájẹ́ bó bàjẹ́ 32 FM ló yẹ ká máa gbọ́ 32 FM àwọn